My fiancée collapsed onto the couch, sobbing, and said, "Don't read the letter in the mailbox." So I walked outside and pulled out an envelope addressed to me. Inside was a photo of her, in another man's arms. I never imagined I'd be sharing something so personal here, but recent events have left me reeling, and I need to get this off my chest. I'm a 34-year-old guy from Chicago, and until a few days ago, I thought I had a clear picture of my future. Now, everything feels uncertain. A bit of background: I've been with my fiancée, Laura, for 5 years. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue in Lincoln Park. She was laughing at some joke when our eyes met, and something just clicked. Laura is 32, a talented graphic designer with an infectious laugh that can brighten any room. 2 years ago, we decided to move in together, finding a cozy apartment in Wicker Park. Life seemed perfect. Last Tuesday started like any other day. I wrapped up work around 5 p.m. I work as a software developer downtown, and the daily grind on the L train had become routine. That day, however, I decided to surprise Laura with her favorite takeout from Portillo's. She'd been working late nights on a big project, and I thought a little comfort food might cheer her up. Balancing the takeout bags in my briefcase, I unlocked our apartment door. The living room was dimly lit, the only illumination coming from the muted television casting a bluish hue across the room. Laura was on the couch, her back to me, shoulders trembling. "Laura?" I set the bags down on the kitchen counter, concern rising. "What's wrong?" She turned to face me, and my heart sank. Her eyes were red and puffy, tears streaming down her cheeks. She looked broken. "Please," she whispered, her voice quivering, "don't read the letter in the mailbox." Confused, I took a step closer. "What letter?" "Laura, what's going on?" She buried her face in her hands, sobbing uncontrollably. My mind raced. Was it bad news? A death in the family? Financial troubles? I needed answers. Without another word, I turned and headed back outside to our building's mailbox. The evening air was crisp, a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing inside me. Fumbling with the key, I opened the mailbox. Amidst the usual junk mail and bills was a plain white envelope addressed to me. No return address. The handwriting was unfamiliar. I tore it open right there in the hallway. Inside was a single photograph. My breath caught in my throat. The photo showed Laura, unmistakably her, in the embrace of another man. They were at a bar, her head resting on his shoulder, both smiling. The intimacy was undeniable. My hands trembled as I flipped the photo over. Scrawled on the back were the words, "Thought you should know." A whirlwind of emotions engulfed me: betrayal, anger, confusion. My legs felt like lead as I made my way back to our apartment. Laura was still on the couch, staring blankly at the television. I held up the photo. "Who is he?" She looked up, fresh tears spilling over. "His name is Mark. We met at the gym." Her voice was barely audible. "It was a mistake. A one-time thing. I ended it weeks ago." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "Then why is someone sending me this now? Who took this photo?" She shook her head, sobbing. "I don't know. I swear I have no idea." The room felt suffocating. I needed air. I needed to think. "I'm going for a walk," I muttered, grabbing my coat. The streets of Wicker Park were alive with the usual evening bustle. Couples walking hand in hand, friends laughing outside cafes, the distant hum of traffic. But I felt detached, as if I were watching everything through a fog. I wandered aimlessly, ending up at a small park nearby. Sitting on a bench, I tried to process everything. Laura, the woman I envisioned spending my life with, had been unfaithful. And someone knew. Someone wanted me to know. Over the next few days, more letters arrived. Each contained photos of Laura and Mark at various locations: the gym, a coffee shop, walking together in Millennium Park. It was clear someone had been following them, documenting their encounters. Desperate for answers, I decided to confront Mark. I found out where he worked: a boutique fitness studio in Logan Square. Posing as a potential client, I scheduled a session with him. The next day, I walked into the studio. Mark was exactly as he appeared in the photos, tall, athletic, with an easy charm. As we went through the motions of the session, I couldn't help but feel a surge of anger. This was the man who had been with Laura. After the session, as he handed me a towel, I decided to cut to the chase. "I'm not here for training," I said, my voice steady. "I'm Laura's fiancée." His face paled. "Look, man, I didn't know she was engaged. She told me she was single. As soon as I found out, I ended it. Who took these?" I showed him the latest batch of photos. He examined them, shaking his head. "I have no idea. I didn't even know these existed." Frustrated and still without answers, I left the studio. That evening, I set up a small camera near our mailbox, hoping to catch whoever was delivering the letters. 2 nights later, around midnight, the camera captured a figure approaching the mailbox. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was Sarah, Laura's best friend. The next day, I confronted Laura with the footage. She was as shocked as I was. "We need to talk to her," I said. Together, we went to Sarah's apartment in Lakeview. She opened the door, surprise evident on her face. "What's going on?" she asked. I showed her the footage. "Care to explain?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "I was jealous," she admitted. "You two seemed so perfect together. When I found out about Laura and Mark, I saw an opportunity." Laura was furious. "You betrayed me. How could you?" Sarah couldn't meet her gaze. "I'm so sorry. I wasn't thinking." The betrayal cut deep, not just from Laura but from someone we both trusted. I told Laura I needed time to think. I packed a bag and stayed with my brother in Evanston for a while. It's been a week since all this went down. Laura has been reaching out, begging for forgiveness. I love her, I really do, but trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. I'm at a crossroads. Part of me wants to work things out, to believe that this was a one-time mistake. But another part wonders if I'll ever be able to trust her again. So when I left off, I was staying with my brother in Evanston, trying to figure out what the hell to do. Laura was texting me every day, long messages, voicemails, pictures of old memories. She even sent a photo of the engagement ring, saying she couldn't wear it anymore because it reminded her of what she lost. But none of that changed what I saw. One night, maybe a week after the confrontation with Sarah, I got a call from Laura at 3:18 a.m. At first, I ignored it. Then she called again. Then again. I answered, thinking maybe something had happened. She was crying again, but not like before. This time it sounded more like panic. "Please come home," she whispered, almost breathless. Someone was in the apartment. I shot out of bed, threw on jeans and a hoodie, and drove back to Wicker Park in 20 minutes. When I got there, she was sitting outside on the front steps, wrapped in a blanket. The front door was slightly open. "What happened?" She looked up at me, terrified. "I heard something. The lock jiggling. Then the door creaked open. I thought maybe it was you, but no one came in." We walked inside slowly. The living room was untouched. Kitchen, same. But the bedroom closet was open, and all the photos I'd boxed up and stuffed in there were laid out on the bed. Our old pictures, engagement shots, photos from a trip to Lake Geneva. Each one had something written across it in red marker: liar, slut, fake, homewrecker. I turned to her. "This isn't just some jealous friend thing. This is serious now." We called the police. They came, asked some questions, made a report, but didn't have much to go on. No fingerprints, no forced entry. They suggested changing the locks and getting a security camera inside the apartment. So we did. That same night, Laura begged me not to leave. She looked like a shell of herself, eyes puffy, shaking, arms wrapped tightly around her chest like she was trying to hold herself together. I didn't want to stay, but I also couldn't leave her like that. So I crashed on the couch. Over the next few days, things got even stranger. The cameras we installed picked up nothing unusual, until Thursday night. At around 2:47 a.m., motion detection was triggered. I checked the footage in the morning and saw the shape of a person standing outside our door for over 5 minutes, hood up, facing the peephole, doing nothing. Just standing there. Not moving. Then, they slipped something under the door. It was another envelope. Inside, a printed screenshot of Laura's text messages with Mark. Not recent ones, but ones from before she told me it was just a one-time thing. The messages were intimate. Conversations about missing each other, sneaking off, how she wished she'd met him before me. I showed her the screenshot. She stared at it for a long time before finally saying, "I lied. It wasn't one time. It went on for about a month. I was scared to lose you. I didn't want to say everything." The air left my lungs. "You looked me in the face," I said, barely able to speak. "And you still lied. Even after I found that first photo." "I was ashamed," she said. "I didn't know how to fix it." That's when something snapped in me. I picked up my things, said nothing, and walked out. I went back to Evanston. This time I told my brother everything. He didn't hold back. Said I was being an idiot for still caring. Said if I stayed, I'd regret it for the rest of my life. Maybe he's right. Then, a twist I didn't expect. That same night, Mark messaged me. I didn't even know how he got my number. It was a short message. "We need to talk. It's about Sarah." I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. "Why?" He wrote back. "She didn't just send those letters. She told me Laura and you were separated. She wanted me to keep seeing Laura. Said she was doing Laura a favor. I think she wanted you to find out." My hands were shaking. I called him. Mark answered on the first ring. He sounded serious, not smug, not apologetic, just tired. "I thought you should know," he said. "She was setting this whole thing up." "What do you mean?" "She came to the gym once. Told me Laura had a toxic fiancé who was cheating on her. That Laura needed someone better. I didn't think much of it at the time. But now, I think Sarah planned all this. You think she wanted us to break up? I think she was obsessed with Laura. Or maybe obsessed with tearing you apart. I don't know, man. But she's not just a jealous friend." The next morning, I checked the security footage again. This time, I paid attention to the clothes, the movements, the shoes. The figure who stood outside the door for 5 minutes. It wasn't a man. It had to be Sarah. So now I'm sitting here, staring at all the pieces, trying to understand how my life went from planning a wedding to trying to figure out who the hell is stalking my ex-fiancé. And I still don't know what to do next. Should I go to the cops again? Should I confront Sarah? Should I warn Laura? Or is she part of it too? Nothing feels real anymore. So, after Mark told me about Sarah, I couldn't sleep. I stayed up all night rewatching the security footage, checking timestamps, comparing clothes, movements, even the way the person stood. The figure outside our door looked small, feminine. Longish hair under the hoodie. It matched Sarah's build. But here's where it got even more disturbing. I dug back into older footage, just in case she'd come by before. I found something from 2 weeks ago, before I even knew about the cheating. Around 1:30 a.m., our camera caught someone sneaking around our back stairwell. The figure didn't approach the door this time. Instead, they went to Laura's car, crouched down, and did something under the passenger side. Then they disappeared into the alley. I went out the next morning and checked the car. Nothing obvious. I decided to take it to a shop anyway. The mechanic found a GPS tracker stuck under the wheel well. One of those cheap magnetic ones anyone can buy online. Battery powered. That was when everything really started to come together. All the photos. The perfect timing. The personal messages. Someone had been tracking Laura's movements long before I found out about Mark. And it wasn't just jealousy. This was obsession. I told Laura about the tracker. Her face went white. She sat down slowly and just kept whispering. "I knew it. I knew something was wrong. Apparently, she noticed little things for months. Her favorite shampoo bottle always moved slightly, a sweater going missing and reappearing days later, getting chills like someone had been in the room when she was gone. But she never said anything because she didn't want to seem paranoid. She thought it was stress from the affair eating at her. She was wrong. We brought the tracker to the police. They took it more seriously this time. Asked for the footage, asked about Sarah, asked if we had any texts or proof. Laura scrolled through her phone, trying to find anything suspicious. Then she remembered something. A few months ago, Sarah had offered to help her with some freelance work. Laura had let her borrow her laptop while they worked together at a coffee shop. Sarah had the laptop for about an hour while Laura went to pick up lunch. It clicked. If Sarah installed anything on that laptop, spyware, keystroke trackers, or even just copied her emails and texts, she would have had access to all of Laura's personal accounts. And if she had that, then it would explain how she got the messages between Laura and Mark. And maybe even more than that. I helped Laura take the laptop to a tech shop. The guy who checked it ran some scans. Within 20 minutes, he found tracking software hidden deep in the background. It was logging passwords, emails, messages. Everything. Laura was silent for a long time after the tech guy told us. Just sat there, staring at the screen. She read everything. She whispered. She knew everything. I didn't know what to say. I was angry, yeah? But I also felt sick. I was starting to feel like Laura and I weren't just cheated on and betrayed. We were targets in something way more disturbing. We gave everything to the cops: videos, laptop, GPS tracker. They opened a case. But it didn't stop there. 3 nights later, Laura and I were both asleep. Me on the couch again. Around 2 a.m. I heard a thud. Then glass shattering. I jumped up and ran toward the noise. Our kitchen window had been smashed. A brick lay on the floor with a note attached, wrapped in duct tape. The note said, "You don't deserve her. You never did. You took her from me." I called the cops again. This time they came fast. They're keeping the brick and note as evidence, and now Laura's officially moved out of the apartment. She's staying with her sister in Oak Park. I'm still in Evanston with my brother. The weirdest part? Sarah is acting completely normal. She's still posting on Instagram, pictures of brunch, selfies, memes. She even tagged Laura in a story 2 days after the brick incident. Like none of this ever happened. We haven't confronted her yet. The police told us to stay away for now, to let them handle it. But we're not safe. Not really. Mark messaged me again yesterday. This time he said, "She's been showing up at my work. Not saying anything. Just watching me train clients. It's freaking me out. He's filed a complaint with his gym. They banned her from the premises. And then something even more messed up happened. This morning, I got an email from an account I didn't recognize. No name. Just a weird Gmail address. All it said was, 'If you had married her, she would have been dead by now.' Attached was a photo of me and Laura from our engagement shoot. I'm writing this now because I don't know who else to tell. Something that started as cheating has turned into stalking, obsession, possibly worse. Laura and I, yeah, we have our problems. Serious ones. But neither of us deserves this. We're still figuring out what to do next. We're both being watched. Tracked. Manipulated. And we don't even know the full story yet. There's something really wrong here. And I don't think this is just Sarah acting alone. I didn't think things could get worse after the email. But life, apparently, wasn't done throwing punches. The cops got more involved after that. They took the threat seriously and pulled Sarah in for questioning. She denied everything. Said she had nothing to do with the tracker, the photos, or the brick. Claimed someone was trying to frame her. But they couldn't arrest her. Not yet. Most of what we had was circumstantial, and unless she slipped up, we had to wait. Meanwhile, Laura and I stopped talking for a while. I needed space. I couldn't think straight around her. Every time I saw her, all I could see was that picture of her in Mark's arms. Her betrayal was still raw, even though we were both caught up in something we didn't fully understand. Then the real twist happened. Last Friday, Laura and I were both asked to come into the station again. The detective working our case, Rodriguez, said they had something we needed to see. We sat in a small, windowless room, and they pulled up a video from a local security camera, one I didn't even know existed. It was outside a diner about 5 blocks from our old apartment. The footage was timestamped 2 days before the brick was thrown. It showed Sarah, all right. But she wasn't alone. She was sitting across from Mark. They were laughing. She handed him a manila envelope. And then, this part still plays on a loop in my head, he opened it, pulled out a photo of me and Laura, and smiled. I stood up in the station and yelled, "What the hell is this?" Laura looked like someone had punched her in the gut. Detective Rodriguez paused the video and turned to us. "We think they've been working together for a while. Mark and Sarah. Together. Plotting this." Laura was frozen. "That can't be right," she whispered. "Mark said he ended it. He said she lied to him?" Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. "Or maybe he lied to you." Turns out, they'd been in touch for months. Mark was Sarah's ex. They broke up a year before Laura ever met him. But they'd stayed in contact. Friends with benefits, maybe? We don't know the full story. But what we do know, they planned it all. The affair. The setup. The exposure. Every detail, from the gym, accidentally, meeting Laura, to Sarah getting close to her again after years of drifting apart. They wanted to ruin us. They wanted to destroy what Laura and I had. Why? Maybe jealousy. Maybe boredom. Maybe something darker. When we left the station, Laura broke down in the parking lot. Sobbing. Knees buckling. She collapsed against the car and screamed. People stared. I stood there, arms at my sides, completely numb. She kept repeating, "I didn't know. I didn't know." And for the first time in weeks, I believed her. But it didn't matter anymore. We went back to my brother's house. Laura stayed the night on the couch. Neither of us spoke much. I couldn't sleep. Just stared at the ceiling, wondering how everything got so messed up. The next morning, Laura tried to talk. Tried to explain. "I really thought I was falling for Mark. But I swear, I didn't know he and Sarah." "Stop," I said. My voice came out harsher than I meant. "Just stop." She looked at me, silent, broken. I could see it all over her face, the shame, the regret, the exhaustion. She was wrecked. And yeah, part of me still cared. But most of me was just done. "I don't hate you," I said after a long pause. "But I can't do this anymore." She nodded, eyes filling again. She didn't fight. She didn't beg. Just said, "I understand." Laura moved out the next day. Left a note thanking me for the years, saying she'd never stop being sorry, and that maybe one day, I'd heal. My brother, bless him, tried to lighten things up that night. Ordered deep dish, cracked a few beers, put on a Bulls game. I appreciated it, even if I wasn't really there mentally. Later, I checked my phone. A message from Sarah. "Hope you liked the show." I blocked her without replying. Mark vanished. Deleted all his socials. Quit the gym, according to one of my friends who lives nearby. Last I heard, the cops were still trying to build a stronger case, but neither of them's been arrested. That part stings, the lack of justice. The fact they can just walk away from what they did. But I'm not holding my breath. It's been a few weeks now. I'm still at my brother's place, slowly pulling myself together. I've started going to therapy. It's not easy, but it's helping. I don't talk to Laura. I don't plan to. There's too much damage. Looking back, I learned a lot. About trust. About ignoring red flags. About how some people will twist love until it's unrecognizable. Do I regret loving Laura? No. But I regret not seeing the cracks sooner. I regret not asking more questions when things didn't add up. I regret thinking love was enough to protect us from people like Sarah and Mark. Now, I'm not sure what comes next. But for the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid of finding out.